Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. Going to be doing a review here of the Tiger 1, and I could have sworn that I'd done a review of the Tiger 1, but maybe I just can't remember deleting it because maybe I was unhappy with it, or I don't know. But going to be doing a review of the Panzerkampfwagen 6 of E Tiger. So, the Tiger is, of course, a Tier 7 German tech tree purchased heavy tank. And it's one of the most famous tanks of the war. And everyone, whenever they start playing World of Tanks, their goal is always to get the Tiger. Because everyone just wants to drive around with this facing, well, with this facing away from them because they want to see the Tiger. And is it any good? Well, we have a look here at the characteristics. 48% protection, 65% firepower if you use the 105. Or sorry, a 100% firepower if you use the 105 howitzer, but with a 32% shot effectiveness. Or if you use the long 88, which is what everyone else uses, you get a 65% firepower, 89% shot effectiveness, and a 40% maneuverability. So it's got a very good gun. As you can quite clearly see, it's not great in maneuverability and it has alright protection. But 1,450 HP, which is 50 HP less than the World of Tanks PC version of the Tiger for some reason. I don't know why. I could have sworn that it had the same amount of HP, but no, it actually has got 1,450, which brings it in line with this, the Tiger P. But oh well. But that's still a decent enough amount of HP. What else at Tier 7 has got some HP? Well, we've got the Tankenstein, which has got 1,350 HP. Tiger P has got the same, obviously. What else have we got? German heavies, there aren't any others. Apart from the Lerver. The Lerver has got 1,500. But let's have a look at America. What has America got at Tier 7? Oh no, sorry, that was the Lerver. That's Tier 8. T29, with the upgraded turret, gets to have 1,150, sorry. It gets 1,250, so that's 200 HP less for the American heavy tank. What does the IS get? There you go, IS, with the upgraded turret, gets 1,230. What does the KV-3 get? KV-3 gets 1,300 and something, surely. 1,300 exactly. What about Britain? What does the Black Prince get? Black Prince gets a lot of HP, I'm sure. 1,450. So, it has got the most HP in the game of a Tier 7 heavy in the game, just in line with the Tiger P and with the Black Prince. However, the armour is not great. The Tiger was mostly used for ranges of 2 kilometers, or used as a heavy breakthrough tank against Allied infantry, which would have very little anti-tank protection. And so it was more of a sniper tank at the range of several kilometers, which meant that the armour shell would drop off in order to have less penetration to not penetrate the armour of the Tiger from the Allied tanks. But here in World of Tanks, 100 frontal hull with 82 sides and rear for both the turret and the hull isn't great. It does have some constructional angle of 20 maybe degrees, but that's still not great. The turret is a bit of an odd thing because there are certain places that you can penetrate, but then there are certain parts that you cannot penetrate. So the turret is a bit like the Comet's turret in the regard of that it's difficult to penetrate in certain parts, and it's a very odd thing made up of many layers of armour in some places and very little armour in others. But still, the 82 sides and rears of this tank is not very good at all in raw thickness terms, because as you can see, it's all very flat sides. There's no angling on the sides of the hull, and the turret, whilst these bits are going to be an auto bounce zone, on the sides anything will just go straight through regardless of the angle, really. However, one thing that this tank does do well at is angling, side scraping and baiting. So if you're coming around the corner, then you can angle yourself like so on the corner, therefore making shells go ping off of your armour harmlessly, due to the fact that that is a much thicker amount of metal to get through because it is angled at such a way, which means that you can then reverse out, you can take a shot with this very good gun, and you can then pop back into cover, leaving their shells to ricochet harmlessly off. The same can be said for baiting. If you drive out like so, bait the tank will then fire, hit the extreme angle of the frontal hull, or indeed the lower part of the hull, or even the upper glacis here, and it will just ricochet harmlessly off of those sides, allowing you free to pop out, shoot, and then go back into cover again. Which means that this is sort of one of the best tanks to do angling and side scraping in, or indeed the duck and cover shoot sort of tactic, which, you know, you pop out, you take a shot, and then you hide back again. So angling this tank is highly advised. It's sort of the only way to actually bounce shots with this tank, unless somebody's got a really, really bad penetration gun, such as this thing, T23-3, which does not have great penetration at all. But yeah, so the armour is not thick, it's not great, but it is good with angling and side scraping. So there's that. Now we look at the maneuverability. It's a 58-ton tank with a 700 horsepower engine, which means that it does go at 44 kilometers per hour, which it could do in real life. It was one of the more quicker heavy tanks of World War II, due to a at least respectable about 30 miles per hour speed limit. But the traverse is not great, 34 degrees per second. The turret traverse speed is abysmal, of 20.86. I mean, the engine is only 700 horsepower, with a 20% chance of fire and impact. 240 meters view range, which is meh, it's alright. It does have a 61-ton load limit, however, so you can fill it up with whatever you want, whatever equipment you want, and it can hold it. But now we come to the gun, and if you come from either the Tiger P, or if you come from this VK, you will have this gun unlocked, which is the 88 KWK 56 L56, which means that you will never have to use this gun, which is the 75 Waffenkanone 42 L70, which you would otherwise have to do if you hadn't unlocked the gun. But you have to unlock the gun in order to actually get to the Tiger, so there's that. So you will never have to use this gun, which means that you will have this gun unlocked. But the problem with this gun is it has even less penetration. It's got better average damage, 220 rather than 160, but it does have 5mm of penetration less than this gun, which means that you'll either have to be using this, or you'll go with the big old derp gun of the 105 KWK L28 high explosive derpometer, which has only got 64mm of penetration with armor piercing, 53 with high explosive, 330 average damage, or 410 with the high explosive. Yeah. A terrible dispersion, an alright aim time, and it weighs less. But this is the gun that you will end up using, which is not historically accurate. The Tiger never had the long L71 gun on it. This was used for the Tiger II. But this gun does have very good penetration, 203mm, very good APCR penetration, 237. Only 44 high explosive pen, but then high explosive. Alright average damage, 220. It's an 88mm gun. You'll be used to any other 88mm gun. Very good dispersion, 0.326. But the aim time leaves a bit to be desired of 5.1 seconds. But other than that, it's a very accurate gun with very good penetration, which means that you are ultimately a sniper tank destroyer, rather than a brawling heavy tank. You can brawl, as I said, you can angle yourself on a building, but still not really designed for brawling like an IS-3. It's more of a sniper dealing damage from the back lanes and letting penetration drop off. Save your armor, basically. But anyway, so there's that. It carries, there we go, 72 rounds of 72 rounds of 88, not high explosive, of 88mm shells. I mean, if you want to load it up full with high explosive, then you can. But, I mean, it's not advised, because it has terrible penetration and will likely not do anything. But, yeah, 72 shells is enough to get you through any battle, I would say. It's slightly it is less shells than the L56, the historical gun, which could carry 92 shells, which is historically accurate. But for some reason, longer barrel means less shells for some reason. I don't know. But there we go. So the equipment fit. You will want a large caliber tank gun rammer and the enhanced gun lane drive, because, well, the aim time is not great, and it's always nice to just fire quicker. Improved vents is not a bad idea, because it's nice to have improved vents, especially in a fairly immobile tank like this one is. But then again, improved vents is just nice to get reload down. If you keep getting set on fire and ammo racked, then you've got the wet ammo rack, the tank's filled with CO2. If you keep getting your tracks blown off, then you've got the enhanced suspension for plus 30% durability. Caminet and binos is an odd choice. I would probably advise against it. Even though you are a sniper heavy tank, you should sort of still do a brunt of heavy tank work, especially if you're one of the few heavy tanks in your battle. But, I mean, that's up to you. If you still want view range and you don't want to go with the binos, then you could always go with coated optics. And then you've got the heavy spore liner, which I would say, no, probably not. Not really enough high explosive going around, and there's no artillery to make this effective. So probably not a heavy spore liner. And then a toolbox is just always useful. Then you've got your consumables of standard fuel and improved fuel for plus 3 or 10% respectively to engine power and turret reverse speed, activated automatically throughout the battle. Then you've got chocolate bar and then chocolate for plus 3 or 10 respectively % to crew mastery, once again throughout a battle. Then you've got protective kit for plus 15% of protection of crew from injuries, 10% speed and module repairs, 20% fire protection, and 10% ammo rack and fuel tank durability, once again throughout a battle. So there's them. Go ahead and chuck some of them on if you want. I tend to not, but if you want to, then there you go. Now for the consumables. Anyone who's watched any of my other Blitz reviews will know what I'm about to say, but if this is your first review, then hey ho, here we go. So I've gone with the standard repair kit, first aid kit, and large fire extinguisher, automatic fire extinguisher, which is your standard loadout in Blitz. However, then there's also the engine power boost, plus 20% engine power for 15 seconds with a 75-second cooldown, multiple use throughout the battle. And then you've got adrenaline, plus 20% to load speed, 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules, with a 15-second duration and a 75-second cooldown. And all these have got a cooldown of 90 seconds, allowing you to use them multiple times within a battle, which is cool. And then you've also got the multi-purpose restoration pack, which basically does all three of these, just combined into one. And if people will use engine power boost and adrenaline, they are fairly common things that other people use. I tend to not use them, but if you want to use them, then they are there. and people will generally go with one of them, and one of them. But the reason that I do not go with one of them and a couple of these is because A, I just don't want to use these. But then also, say you've got these two equipped and you've got one of these. If, say, your track gets damaged, or destroyed even, and you're sitting in front of the enemy guns, you have to use your multi-purpose restoration pack. And you repair your track and away you go. And 10 seconds later, say, another shot hits you, and you get set on fire. What do? Well, you've used this, so it's on a cooldown, and these two are your other two consumables. You can't put out the fire because you've used your multi-purpose restoration pack, which means that you're just going to keep burning. Which is why I prefer to go with all three of these, because even though I'm sacrificing these two things, they're not exactly essential. So I can repair my track with this, and the fire will go out with this, which is why I choose to go with all three of these rather than these two. But your mileage may vary, so depending on how you want it, then there's that. As for the crew, not much I can say about the crew, because it's up to your own discretion as to what you want to choose. There is no way of choosing individual crew skills for an individual tank. It's only classed by tank type. So all your heavy tanks will start training a heavy tank skill, which is why I can't exactly say which is... Oh dear. And we are back. I had a game crash. Don't worry, nothing out of the ordinary. But yeah, I can't exactly explain which crew skill is best for you, so nothing much I can say about that. And as for the camo, many of you may have noticed that I've got this Gamescom 2016 plastered across the side of my turret with some nice lines here and there and some nice red circles around the outermost drive wheels and idler wheel on both sides. And the reason for that is because, you guessed it, Gamescom 2016 rolled around in 2016, and they were doing a special camouflage for the Tiger, dedicated to Gamescom 2016, and it changes the name in-game to Tiger 1 Gamescom when you're in a battle. So that's just a nice little extra, so I was like, yep, getting that. Gives plus 2% to vehicle concealment on maps corresponding to the type. I've got it on all three because you can do that. But if you're wondering, hold on, why is it only plus 2%? Well, that's because any other heavy tank camouflage is going to be plus 2%. And the Inferno looks pretty cool on the Tiger. But I've got a legendary one, so I'm going to stick with the legendary camo, because these are rare. This is legendary. I'm going to stick with it. But overall, it's a fun heavy tank. It's a decent enough heavy tank. And besides, it's a Tiger. What more needs to be said? It's the Tiger. Is it good? Of course it is. It's the Tiger. But anyway, yeah. So I'll thank you all for watching, and goodbye.